my guest today actually found love in 2020, and that is the lovely Helena Hart. Welcome, Helena.
Hey, Michelle. Hi to all the ladies watching. Yes, I can't wait to share my secrets with everyone. This is something I haven't talked very much about before, but it's so important. So I'm really looking forward to diving in on this topic today.
So excited to have the opportunity to feature you. And, Helena, I think what we're going to be talking about today is really, really important because this is something that comes up for both you and I very frequently in our conversations with women and with the women that we work with. And that is to stop waiting for the man who's not stepping up and do this instead. And Helena in her work is a love, dating, and relationship coach, and she helps women find, meet, attract the one, and know how to keep him as well. And she shares incredible advice and secrets on her amazing YouTube channel. And we're so happy to be able to feature her in a full-length video here today. So Helena, welcome once again. And let's just jump right in and share some of your thoughts on this topic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something I see really every day, literally. I hear from women who are kind of stuck on a man who's not fully stepping up or committing to her or showing up consistently for her. I'm sure you hear that all the time as well. I have certainly been there myself, so I know exactly what that feels like. And it can be the hardest thing, but I believe it's the most important thing to detach from the men who just aren't doing the job or who aren't right for you or ready for the kind of relationship you want. So yeah, this is some of the most important information we could probably ever share with women.
You know what, Helena, I think this is a really tricky thing for a lot of women too, because here's the thing. A lot of times these men that we're talking about give us just enough encouragement or just enough hope that kind of keeps us hanging on there, right?
And oh yeah.
Sometimes,
I was just going to say they give you just enough crumbs to keep you there, but not enough to fully make you happy and feel truly secure in the relationship. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like you're seated at the banquet table, but you're still starving.
Such a good way to put it. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. It's like you can see all of the delicious food there, but you can't have any of it. That's what it can kind of feel like.
Yeah. And sometimes depending on our old history or maybe what our parents or caretakers are like, that can feel very familiar to us, right? It's like, that's what maybe love felt like to us earlier in life. If you had to work hard to win over your parents' love or attention, right? That can feel familiar. And so when a man comes along and he's just giving you crumbs, that feels like home to you, right? And your subconscious is just kind of pulling you or keeping you stuck on what feels familiar. It's like, this is a dance you know how to do. And then it's just such a devastating cycle. I see women developing beliefs that this is all that's out there, or maybe this is the best I can do. Maybe men are just like this now. And so it keeps them attracting more and more experiences like that. It keeps them attracting men just like that, which makes them stay stuck on this original man. I've just seen this happen over and over and over. Of course, I've been there myself. I think we all have to a certain degree, mm-hmm. right? So yeah, this is such an important cycle or pattern to turn around.
Yeah. And I think it gets harder and harder sometimes for a woman to let go of that kind of relationship, especially when she has so much invested in it. Because somewhere in the back of our minds, we keep thinking, at some point, he's going to realize that he doesn't want to live without me, or that he's really going to want to commit to me, or he's really going to want more. But we can't be with a man based on potential of what we hope will happen or how we hope he'll start showing up, or on a relationship based on how we hope it will be. We have to base it on the reality of what is.
So true. Such a good point. I always love everything you say. Yeah. It's like we think, oh, if I can just be good enough or do, say these perfect 9 words to make him fall in love. That's when we start Googling relationship advice for all the wrong reasons. We've all been there, myself included, a decade or so ago. And it's a great thing because that's what can bring you to this work, to what turn some of these patterns around within yourself and attract the right man. I mean, truly, if this guy in question here is the right one for you, he's going to step up. And if he's not, he's just going to fade away. And you don't have to micromanage it more than just shifting your own beliefs and your own self-love and really amping up your own self-worth and value so that the right man just sees that, or the men who are a reflection of that are going to show up into your experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing that I say often to women, Helena, that I think goes along with this is that it's important to remember that the wrong guy can still be a really nice guy. So usually when we think about the wrong guy, we think of him as having some major fatal flaw or some big red flag or that sort of thing. But the wrong guy can be any man who's not not ready to be in a relationship with you for whatever the reason. If you want a real relationship and for whatever reason he's not able to be there for you, he can still be the wrong guy for you to continue to invest your precious life energy into.
That's so true. Yeah, he can be really smart and charming and sensitive and funny. He can be emotionally unavailable, and still be a wonderful guy at the same time. But that still makes him the wrong guy, right? Mm-hmm. The seemingly right guy at the wrong time, or he's just not really showing up consistently for you, is still the wrong guy, in my opinion, if what you're looking for is something deeper, a more committed relationship.
Mm-hmm. So that's where I think this sometimes gets really tricky and confusing for women. And then they've got a lot of time and energy and effort and feelings invested in this man. It can be really hard to let go of that kind of a relationship.
Absolutely. That can be the hardest thing. But what I've seen, and I'm curious as to your experience too, working with women, is once a woman breaks out of that cycle, she starts attracting men on a whole new level. It's like she's engaging with men on this kind of low level, men who don't fully step up, men who aren't commitment minded or who don't want the same things as she does. Once she detaches from that, she kind of moves up to the next tier or the next level. And then she starts attracting men up here very quickly, who are totally all in and ready for the kind of relationship she wants and who are very into her and who would never dream of keeping her waiting or disappearing or hurting her.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because I think when a woman finally does get to that point where she's able to let go or to decide for herself that she's no longer willing to settle for that kind of a relationship, she's coming into her own value in a new way. She's gaining a new sense of her own value, and she's being more true to herself and what she wants. And I think that energetically tends to attract different kinds of people into her life than if she's in the mindset or feeling of this is all I can have, this is the best I can do, or this is all I deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't really see very often, again, I'm curious, your experience with this, women who are kind of engaging with men or hanging on to him energetically, even by constantly thinking and obsessing and what can I do to make him fall in love with me and want to commit. If they're engaging with men on that level, I don't often see them at the same time simultaneously attracting a man up here who's totally available and ready for the kind of relationship she wants. So you have to break out of this cycle first. Now that could involve a breakup potentially, or a conversation, or it could just simply be working on yourself to the point where you start getting bored and losing interest in any man who's not ready and able to have the kind of relationship that you're looking for. So yeah, you often have to end the cycle here, disengage from this man or this kind of man, move up to the next level or the next tier, and then this man will meet you up here or not. But you don't want to choose him down here, then try and inch him up to where you want to be. It just doesn't work that way. At least I've never really seen that. Right.
Well, it's exhausting too for a woman, because a woman doesn't want to feel like she's dragging a man along toward the path of commitment or to a deeper level of a relationship. I mean, What woman wants to do that? No woman wants to do that.
Yeah, it's exhausting. Like you said, it just doesn't work either. It's
right.
Like pushing a boulder up a hill. You might get it a little far up, but the second you take your eyes or your hands off it, it's just going to roll right back down the hill. So yeah, I like to give women a whole nother way of going about this, to where, attracting and meeting the one is much more effortless and can happen a lot more quickly than maybe she's experienced before.
Yeah. So why don't you share a little bit more about your thoughts on that, Helena? We'd love to tap into your wisdom on this.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So let's go with that example, because this is probably what I hear most commonly with women. They, leave me comments in some of the comment sections of my videos on YouTube, or they email me, and it's typical for them to be attached to a man who's not quite doing the job or not stepping up, or maybe he's flat out told her that he's not ready for a relationship, but she just has such strong feelings for him. Usually women in this situation are not that attracted to that many men. And I was totally this way myself. And so I know this resonates with me. I'd be curious to hear from everyone watching this. They're not attracted to that many men. So one guy comes along, they finally have feelings for someone. They're finally attracted to this guy. And so they don't want to detach, right? So what I would have a woman do who's in this situation is take everything that you want from this man, maybe write it down. What has your experience dealing with this man? What desires have you given birth to as a result of that, right? How about a man who wants to be with you as much as you want to be with him? A guy who's reliable and dependable and intentional. That was a huge one for me. An intentional guy who doesn't just want to waste your time for years and years and years in a casual relationship where you see each other, a couple times a month. A man who's moving things forward. So for everyone listening, I'd love to hear your list of what, dealing with this man has caused you to know a lot about what you want, likely, and also a lot about what you don't want. So you need to become a match to those qualities that you want in order for this man to step up. And I have seen that happen. If you are, raising your own value in your own eyes first and not accepting anything less than what you truly want and deserve, right? Either he will step up or he will fade away. And a man who is a match to those qualities will come right in. So does that make sense? Becoming a match to the qualities that you actually want and detaching from this belief that it has to be with this one man because I might never feel this way about someone else ever again. Am I making sense here?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we can get hyper focused on one person, especially if you have the experience when you're not that attracted to that many men. So then when one does come along, we can get attached to him and who he is and who we think he is and who we think he might become in the context of a relationship. And we can even develop a bit of a fantasy around this person. And so then we can almost create an anxious attachment to him and to the outcome of the relationship. And we can become hyper focused on him. So it can be hard to even see the possibility of anyone else. And what I think you're saying, if I understand you correctly, is if you're in that kind of a situation, take what you really like and appreciate from this experience, from this man, and also think about those things that maybe aren't there. Take that all forward and create a list in your mind on paper of what you really want. And you focus on moving toward that and also looking at yourself and saying, am I energetically in that place? Am I valuing myself enough that I'm going to invite that kind of a person into my life?
You got it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad it was clear. And that's the first time I've really ever sharing anything like this. And it's just so important. Yeah. So what is it that you want to feel in your ideal relationship, and not what do I need to do to get this guy into me enough, right? Or get him ready to commit or whatever it is. We've all been there. I'm laughing because I have certainly been there and it just doesn't work. I know for everyone watching who's tried that, it just doesn't work. You have to become a match to those qualities that you want. And then stop engaging on this lower level. Stop accepting crumbs. Stop putting yourself on hold for a man who's not doing the same for you. It's like, it just breaks my heart thinking about women who are dreaming about this man who's not dreaming about her right back. You have to become a match to yourself and kind of mate with your own soul, meaning what do you want to feel in your ideal relationship or just in life in general, and trust that there is absolutely not just one man, but lots of amazing men out there who would be thrilled to have you as that special woman in their hearts and meet your needs. And there are so many men like that out there. But if you're engaging with men on this lower level, you're not going to see those guys. You're not going to be attracted to those guys. That's why it's important to do the detaching first, right?
Yeah, and not only are you not going to see those guys, but you're also going to have your confidence level going down. Like the more we settle for crumbs or less than what we really want, and the longer we do that, the more we start losing confidence in ourselves and belief in what we deserve. And it can even be a phenomenon where we start to kind of wonder about our own judgment. You know, these women that are saying, you know, I always pick the wrong men. And it's like, no, did you really pick the wrong man, or did you choose to allow someone to stay in your life who wasn't really meeting your needs and who really wasn't stepping up?
It's so true. Yeah, it can erode your self-esteem. Something I've been saying for years is the danger of accepting crumbs, or sometimes even begging for crumbs, right? Is you start to believe that that's all you deserve. You said that becomes your new normal, right? So where if an available guy comes along ready to shower you with love and commit to you, and right, that starts to feel like too much. That starts to turn you off because you're so, what's familiar to you is, crumbs, a man who's not available, a man who is like, there's always something preventing him from committing to a real relationship. So yeah, it's really important, really, really important. I always say, what you teach people how to treat you by the behavior you're willing to accept, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And anytime we find ourselves in this mode of thinking or doing Google searches or whatever the case may be, when we're saying like, how do I make a man do this? Or how do I get him to do that? Or that sort of thing. I think that's a sign that you're probably in one of these relationships where it's kind of a relationship of deprivation. You're feeling like deprivation, because the truth is, when the right man shows up, he's going to show up and be intentional. And it's not going to be like you feel like you have to be dragging him along or pushing the boulder up the hill like you described it. It's going to be like he's showing up like he wants to put forth the effort to spend time with you, to get to know you, to invest his energy and attention with you. It's not going to be this confusing like struggle, push me, pull me kind of thing. And so if we're feeling like, well, how do I make him do this? Or how do I get him to do that? I think that's automatically a sign. If you're thinking that way or doing the Google searches that way, or clicking on the clickbait that has that kind of a title, that's probably not the direction you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I understand that tendency. I think we've all been there where we just want this guy to step up. I call it betting on potential. We kind of fall for how great it could be if he were available or ready to commit, or who, if they were into us enough, it would be so great. But it's just not, I mean, typically men like that, when they're ready to partner, if they ever become truly available for a relationship, they kind of end up partnering with someone else, because when a guy is into you, he's kind of into you, right? He makes it happen. So if a guy's not making it happen, that's a big clue that he's not the right man for you, at least not right now.
Right, right. Yeah, very well said. So that if word is a really big word. If you say, if he were available, if he were ready to commit, if, again, if you find yourself thinking like that, it's probably a pretty good sign that he may not be the right man for you, that he might not be ready. And like we said earlier, this doesn't mean that he's a bad guy. It just means for whatever reason, he may not be ready or be the right guy for you. And so you, as a woman of high value, you want to be in tune with what is right for you, and not have your value determined by what any one man is or isn't doing, and make your choices based on what feels right and best for you, and being true to what you want in your life.
Absolutely. I love everything you said. It's so important. So important. It's amazing how quickly things can start to shift too. Once you put both feet into yourself, you're going to attract men who want to put both feet into the relationship as well. I certainly experienced that in my own life. And when you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out in your own dreams and desires, like if you're just not really ready to put yourself out there, so you're staying stuck on this one man, you're going to attract and be attracted to men who are 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the relationship. Something I talk about all the time is you're attracting a mirror image of your own masculine energy. So if you're not fully committing to yourself and your own dreams and desires and your, desire for a great relationship, you're going to attract men who don't want to commit to you. It's all related, probably a topic for a whole nother video, but it's important to keep that in mind. It's not about how do I get this man to step up? It's where am I not taking a stand for what I truly want and deserve, and acting according to that belief that I absolutely deserve all the love I desire, and that it's a guarantee to you. You can have it if you want it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Helena, do you mind if I ask you a bit of a personal question about your current relationship and how that was different from some of your previous dating experiences, just to kind of compare and contrast with what we've been talking about and based on what you've experienced with your now fiance?
Absolutely. Yeah. You mentioned a word earlier in this video, intentional, which I love because that's something that I was kind of hoping for in some of the men that I was attracted to before I met my amazing fiance. By the way, I met him 24 hours after joining a dating app. So it can happen quickly, right? Once I fully decided I was ready and truly put myself out there and believed with every fiber of my being that the right guy was going to show up pretty quickly and it wasn't going to take months and months and months, that's exactly how it unfolded for me. But I waited until I truly believed that before taking that step. So yeah, I love talking about that. I haven't talked too much about that before, but yeah, something I would always want, from men who just weren't quite there, right? I really wanted them to be intentional. I would have loved for them to say, I really want to be intentional about this relationship or potential relationship, right? Because it wasn't my tendency was to be attracted to men who are emotionally unavailable or afraid of commitment, because deep down, I was probably pretty emotionally unavailable and afraid of commitment myself in my past, especially, right? So I worked with my own counselor, my own therapist to kind of heal some childhood wounds and some moderate depression I was experiencing actually right around this time last year, and really worked on myself because for a couple of years, I really wasn't ready. I didn't want to online date. I wasn't ready to put myself out there, and that's okay. There was nothing wrong with my unreadiness, but when I was out and about, I was also attracting men who clearly weren't ready, who were not at a place where they wanted a relationship. And deep down, I wasn't ready either. And so it was okay. But once I was truly ready and put both feet in, got the support I needed, and then took that step and joined an online dating app, he showed up in 24 hours and we met in person, I believe 11 days after that. And we've just been together ever since. So yeah, I remember one time earlier when we were maybe 2 or 3 months into dating, he actually said, I want to be intentional about this. I don't want, every time we see it, this is going to be in my own words, but he was like, I don't want to just, date forever and ever and ever. I want to be intentional. This is something that I really want. And I really see that with you. And that blew me away because that was a word that I had wanted, maybe other men in my past to say, and they just weren't there. So I had to become a match to that feeling of someone being intentional. I had to be intentional with myself. And then he quickly showed up as a reflection of that. So that's just one example. I know that can resonate with a lot of women because they're kind of tired of wasting time on men who just don't know what they want, right?
Right. Right. Absolutely. And yet I also know what you're speaking of in terms of how we're showing up in the world, because it's easy to say, well, I really want a relationship. But in our minds or in our hearts, there might be some ambivalence going on, like things that I talk to women about, and I'm sure you do too. They're afraid of losing their freedom or their autonomy, or they're afraid of making a mistake. And so it's kind of like having one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, right? It's kind of like, woo, 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 woo. So we're giving this mixed message to the universe, God, whatever you believe in. And from an energetic standpoint, we're saying we really want a relationship, and yet there's a mixture in the energy we're putting out. It's like, I want this, put the foot on the gas, but I'm really scared about this or that. And it's like, and I have these doubts or fears, and I don't trust my own judgment. So it's gas, brake, gas, brake, gas, brake. So we're giving these mixed messages to the universe.
Oh my gosh, that was me for so long when I was finally ready to start dating again. I was kind of tentative. I really wasn't ready for a real relationship. I certainly dated a little, the past couple years before I actually was ready to meet like a lifelong partner, but I was in and out too. And I see that a lot. And that's where I think I talked about it a little earlier. A guy shows up who's fully ready to commit. If you're ambivalent, you're not going to be turned on to that kind of guy. That's going to turn you off or scare you or cause you to freeze up or shut down, right? So that's a clue. It's the other side of the coin. If you're staying stuck on an unavailable man and that's what you feel attracted to, men who are available and like wonderful, high quality men who would never dream of disappearing on you or fading away, you're not going to be attracted to that many men who are like that. So yeah, it's a what's the phrase? Same side, different side of the same coin.
Right, right.
Symptoms of the same issue. So once you heal that issue, you can actually change the kind of man you're attracted to. It's really amazing how this works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just want to remind everyone, I said this at the beginning of our recording here, but you found this love in the middle of 2020. And the reason I'm bringing us back around to that is that many of the clients that I've worked with, and I'm sure many that you've worked with, also found love in 2020, despite the pandemic, despite the obstacles and challenges. And yes, we may have to be a little bit more creative. I really want people to have hope and believe in the possibility, because our lifetime, the time that we have in our lives is very, very precious. And, as we get a little bit older, we start to realize that more and more, how fast the years go by and how fast time goes by. And when you really desire partnership in your life, when you can sort all of this out for yourself and find someone that you can really enjoy life with, it's such a gift and such a blessing. One of the greatest gifts and blessings that life has to offer, which is why we're so passionate about the work that we do. That's one of the reasons why.
Absolutely. I love everything you said. I mean, some people say dating feels like a full-time job or a part-time job, right? And I say, if what you want is a lifelong committed relationship, it's worth that part-time job just for a little while, because like I said, it doesn't have to take forever. It's all about your beliefs. Basically, what I've seen working with so many women over the past 8 years or so, it is what you believe it is. So it's kind of like, you tell us, is this going to be easy or is it going to be difficult for you? It's going to be as easy or difficult as you're telling yourself it's going to be deep down. So I waited until I knew for sure that it was going to be easy. And that's when I took that step, right? You don't want to be dating from a place of like uncertainty or fear or doubt that you can actually have what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because our belief systems can sabotage the whole thing. We can be kind of like doing all the quote unquote right things, but if our belief system is sabotaging us, it's kind of like the hard drive in a computer. It's running the whole show, even though we can't see it, right?
So true. Yeah. So true. Yeah. Love everything you said.
Well, and I really, really love and resonate with everything you said, Helena. And I'm really grateful that you shared this, because I think this is such a key area for women to look at, just to explore and see if any of what we've talked about here today resonates with you and can be helpful to you, because I believe it can help so many women. And
it's so true.
Yeah, it's so true. And I also know, Helena, that you have a free gift for our audience, and I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about that as well.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for asking. That's my 3 keys to attract the man you want. It's a PDF report and an audio training live class I recorded a while back. And it's great if you're single. It's perfect. If you're single and looking to attract the right man for you, you're in such a great place, because you're going to start off on the right foot with this, right? Rather than trying to turn around patterns with a guy who's just never going to fully step up and commit. If you're in a relationship, it will absolutely help bring the right man closer if you're with the right person for you. But yeah, if you're single, looking to find the one, it will help you so much. I go pretty deep there, turning around some of these patterns and subconscious drives. Like, do you tend to put a man on a pedestal and prove yourself to him and, go into convincing mode, which obviously just pushes men away, things like that. So we go pretty deep there. And yeah, that's totally free on my website, helenahartcoaching.com.
Yeah, and we'll post the link to that also underneath the video that you're watching from too. So you can just click on that link and that'll take you right to Helena's site for this report and audio. And we have just barely touched on the tip of the iceberg of what Helena has to share. So I know you're going to want to stay in touch with her. She produces amazing content on her YouTube channel on a regular basis. And this is another way you can also stay in touch with her as well. So click on that link below. And Helena, thank you so much for what you've shared today.
You're welcome. Yes, I just want to leave everyone I could still be waiting. It just really hit me as you were saying that, talking over the last few minutes. I could still be waiting for men from my past. I mean, I found the love of my life, it hasn't even been a year yet. It's almost a year ago. And we're planning on getting married in a few months. So I could still be at that place where I was kind of waiting and holding on to men who were kind of half-hearted. So it's so important. And it's just so possible. Once you're willing to detach from that pattern, it's so possible to take that step into the unknown and meet somebody really phenomenal very quickly. I just want to leave everyone with that.
Yeah, I appreciate that message of hope, Helena. And I also want to say just one other thing, and that is that, we have women from all different backgrounds, all different ages, all different body shapes, all different, experiences. And what we're talking about can work for women from all different backgrounds, ages, circumstances. It's amazing how powerful we can be when we put some of these things into place in our lives. We sometimes forget our own power in these situations. Like we just think it's just luck, or it's just like, it's like love is for other people, but not for us. I mean, I know some people, and I had some of these thoughts myself, can start thinking that way, but I want everyone to know, Helena is a bit younger woman, but I also got married at age 43 and found the love of my life. I work with women in 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond, and women can find love at any age or station in life.
Oh, thank you so much for mentioning. Yeah, I mean, I had my last session with a client last night. She's in her 60s and she met a phenomenal man. We only worked together a couple months. She met an amazing man online during this time. So thrilled for her. And I just hear that happening over and over and over. I had a woman who was a grandmother get married last year. I just had another client in her, I believe, late 50s get engaged just a month or two ago. So yeah, it doesn't matter what you look like, where you're from, what your situation is. If you have that desire for a great relationship, it is absolutely possible. And it's right around the corner. You just have to become a match to it and make yourself available for it.
Yeah. I really appreciate that message of hope. And that's one of the intentions of this series. So I'm so grateful we're able to end this interview on that lovely note.
Yes, thank you so much. This was amazing. Hope everyone enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with what we shared here today. And thank you so much, Michelle. This was great.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks everybody for joining us. Bye for now.
Bye.